Thank you for listening. A list of content warnings can be found in the episode description. Take care. Enjoy the show. Planescape Torment, the Unofficial audio series. A narrative let's play adapted and produced by RevocerGM. Combining in-game audio with additional voice acting through dialogue and descriptions to improve your listening experience. Rediscover the amazing story of the 1999 cult classic isometric video game, Planescape Torment, like you've never heard before. Shoulders sore and fingers numb, you leave the Great Foundry and return to your room at the Red Pony Inn. It is perhaps a welcome feeling, the ache of a long day's labor, not one that you have been afforded much in this short cycle of your life. Your companions too seem to have benefited from the passing of time away from trapped tombs and the machinations of criminals and sages. Even Dakon appears to have relaxed somewhat, lighter at the shoulders, unburdened by the unbroken circle of Zerthamon and the weight of the teachings that he had found so much conflict in. You gave him this artifact all those decades ago, yet you have no idea truly what it is or how its strange mechanism works. You go through the rings, piecing together how each plate interlocks and folds out, forming new combinations that unfold and match to form the text of the teachings. And as you examine the rings of the second circle, you find a strange link in the plate that mentions the laboring of the Gith people to achieve their rising. And to your surprise, a new circle emerges. Know that the rising of the people against the Illithid was a thing built upon many turnings. Many were the people who lived and died under Time's blade while the rising was shaped. The rising was shaped upon a slow foundation. Steel was gathered so that it might mark Illithid flesh. A means of knowing the movements of the Illithids was established, at first weak and confused, then stronger, like a child finding its voice. When the movements were known, then the Illithids were observed. In observing them, their ways of the mind were known. When the ways of the Illithid were known, many of the people were gathered and taught in secret the means to shield their minds and the way to harness their will as weapons. They were taught the scripture of steel. And most importantly, they were given the knowing of freedom. These things were not learned quickly. The knowing of much of the ways was slow, and in all these things, time's weight fell upon all. From the knowing of one's reflection in a steel blade, to the knowing of submerging the will, to the knowing of seeing itself. All of these things, and more, the people built upon. In time, they came to know the whole. These words were beyond Dakon's teachings, lessons of the people that appear yet unknown. Perhaps within them, you may find the answers that might quell Dakon's feelings of doubt. The next day, as you approach the gates of the Great Foundry, an older man in elegant robes is being forcefully escorted from out the courtyard by several Godsmen guards. While there's no overt violence, this man certainly does not seem pleased with the treatment.
Fine. Keep your hands off me. I'm not going to come back.
The guards dump him outside the gates and trudge back in, and the elderly man dusts himself off.
Everything all right?
He snaps his head towards you and immediately breaks into a warm smile. He has a spark in his eyes and a careworn face, and after he straightens himself up, he gives you a slight bow.
Good day, Cutter. How may I serve you?
Good day. What's going on there?
Oh, nothing. Just the ingratitude of another of the factions. Never trust an institution, friend. They will hold with you only as far as it fits their need, and no further.
Right, but you're okay.
Yes, I am just fine. A conflict of interests, nothing more. I've been in much worse situations than the firm hands of a gate guard.
He stops in mid-sentence as he notices your scars. You see his eyes travel along them, and his eyebrows arch in surprise.
And it would seem, Cutter, that so have you. I think you should be less concerned with how to help me, and more concerned with how I might help you.
What? Have you got a problem with my scars?
Problem? No, Cutter. Solution? Perhaps.
Solution?
What, a shirt maybe? Hey, you're one to talk.
Oi!
I'm not complaining.
Ignore them.
Quite.
He leans forward and begins to examine your scars carefully. He runs a finger along several of them, mumbling to himself.
Yes, Cutter, I can help you. I cannot cure you, but I can alleviate the worst of your condition. Condition? That's a very nice way of putting it.
And your price?
Ah, yes, the price.
He begins stroking his chin and stares at you.
Well, I do have a job that I think you could perform. I certainly didn't get the help I needed in there.
He throws a damning gesture towards the guards by the gate.
Go on. I've signed a contract with a certain creature. I am no longer able to fulfill the contract. It is beyond my abilities. However, the creature will not release me from the contract. Instead, it has threatened me with death unless I fulfill it.
Let me guess. You want me to solve this problem for you?
Yes, I would do it myself, but my reputation demands that I fulfill the contract or face the consequences. I am at your mercy in this regard. Will you help me?
What kind of creature are we talking about?
A devil, Cutter. An Abishai named Grosuk. I know this is a difficult task, but one I think you can handle. Also, the reward I offer you is great.
What were you contracted to do?
I cannot reveal that information, Cutter. I am magically bound not to. That is why people come to me. They know that if I accept a contract, it will be handled with discretion. Will you do it, Cutter?
Sure. Give me the details.
Thank you, Cutter. You'll find Grosuk by the base of the siege tower. He has been camped there for days and doesn't seem to want to move on.
Siege tower?
Yes, over beyond the market. Damned thing just appeared one day, several years back. No one knows why, and no one seems to be able to get inside to find out.
I see. By the way, who are you?
Oh, of course. I am Sebastian. A mage of sorts. I do contract work for those who can meet my price.
You hesitate to use the word mage. Why?
Yes, I am not a mage, Cutter, but I can perform the art in my own way. I have forsaken the normal studies of magic and followed my own path.
He pauses and shrugs his shoulders.
It is easier to call me a mage than to argue the point.
What kind of work do you do?
Confidential work, Cutter. I am known for my discretion and getting deeds done. People come to me with quests. If I can perform them, I do so. If I cannot, I don't. In either case, I keep silent.
Right. Well, nice to meet you, Sebastian. Back within the foundry, you rejoin with the boy Laszlo and continue your creation, a stiletto. You'd managed to forge the basic shape the previous day, but there is still a degree of the finer work to continue, and Laszlo leads you to one of the workshops off the main floor.
A grinding is lengthy work, Cutter, and sure, you could buzz it along a wheel and call it done, but that is how you make a shiv. A stiletto is an elegant thing, beautiful and deadly. It requires patience. Now, you won't be away from this particular layer of the hells too quick, so settle in.
Patience. All right. Show me what to do. He guides you through the process of grinding down the final edge, carving and fitting a handle, and then carefully sanding the blade to a perfect finish. He then inspects the blade closely.
Now that is going to be a nice piece of work. Not only functional, it's perfectly balanced. And deadly looking. Nice work. If you ever fancied a more settled life, you'd make a decent living selling pieces like this.
Maybe. It is quite a beautiful blade. Far more ambitious than you would have imagined just a day ago. But you're not quite yet satisfied. You had attempted to carve a small relief into the scales of the handle and up the base of the blade, but lacked the space to fully realize what you had envisioned, and while it is light and nimble in your hand, you feel you might want something with a little more presence.
Excuse me, Seeker. Apologies to interrupt your craft, but Chief Mattersmith Keldor wishes you to speak with one of the supervisors. Please, come with me. It's a matter of some import, Seeker.
This thick-set guard clad in heavy plate mail has a very serious look on his face, and while he does not appear to be showing you any threat, you get the feeling your choice in this matter is not so relevant.
Sure. Lead on.
The guard guides you back through the main floor and to one of the engine rooms, where a crowd of workers have gathered.
All right, everyone, you've seen enough. This isn't a mama's play.
Now, come on. Get back to work, you layabouts, honestly. Beggars belief.
You've been brought to quite a gruesome scene. One of the great gear housings that drive many of the mechanisms on this floor has been jammed with the body of a Godsman smith. You cannot make out much detail beyond two mangled legs emerging from underneath one of the cogs. Despite the grimness of this situation, it appears the workers aren't too perturbed and currently seem more intent on getting a good view before being ushered back to their business. Alyssa Teald, the supervisor of this floor, stares at the scene with a slightly glazed look on her face. Her cheeks are drawn, and she looks like she hasn't slept all that much.
Morning. Keldor said he'd send you.
Morning. What's going on?
A killer has struck in the foundry, as I'm sure you can see, and has murdered poor Avaldon. And, under Keldor's authority, I've been instructed to task you to investigate.
What? Why me?
Well, the high-ups don't want the other factions involved, so both the Harmonium and the Red Death are out of the equation. But you're an outsider, impartial, and perhaps more to the point, on a trial to join the Godsmen. Consider this part of that trial. Besides, we've been keeping an eye on you and can verify that you are not a suspect.
Oh, great. Okay. Well, who are the suspects? What happened?
Well, I was working late when I heard the sound of a scuffle. When I came out, I saw a shadowy figure slip out the door and into the meeting hall, and I raised the alarm. This morning, the word got around, and now the whole floor has been over here to get an eyeful.
Do you have any other details?
Well, I only know 3 people who had access to the floor during the night. They were Thilden, Saros, and Bed-Eye Lynn. The 3 of them have dramatically different builds, but in the haze of the foundry, I couldn't see clearly.
So there are only 3 suspects?
Well, I have an alibi. Not to mention that Keldor already ascertained the truth from me. I have nothing to hide. Apparently, Thilden, Saros, and Bed-Eye Lynn do, though, because they wouldn't go under Keldor's spell.
Right. Okay. Well, where can I find these suspects?
Thilden and Bed-Eye Lynn are senior members who have a lot of the run of the place, so just about anywhere the work's going on. But Saros, he looks about as jittery as a sunfly in Hades. We have him held up for questioning in one of the meeting rooms.
All right. I'll start with him. Thank you.
Good luck.
The armored guard escorts you on to the meeting hall.
Do you know anything about this? Unfortunately no, sir. We had left the floor for the night.
Under whose orders?
Well, the only people who have that authority are Thilden and Bed-Eye Lynn, and Alyssa, of course, but I don't know why anyone would want to give that order.
And it's not unusual that you would have received this order?
Yes, sir. It is unusual. Ordinarily, they keep us here day and night to make sure the project is kept safe.
I see.
Just in here, sir.
You step into a small office with a narrow table running down the center. Sat in one corner, nervously picking at some ornamental display piece, is a scruffy young man. He's dressed in what looked to have once been fine clothes, now marred with oil stains and small tears. He startles out of some daze as he notices you.
Hello. Hello. Rough morning, huh?
Yes. That poor Smith. I can't believe what happened to him.
Yeah, it's pretty awful to be wedged into the gears like that.
Now, I have some questions for you.
Sure. Ask whatever you want.
All right. First, tell me about yourself.
Me? I'm Saros. I've pretty much always been here. I grew up here with my sister, Sarosa. We got to run around the foundry playing with stuff. I know pretty much everyone. I like pretty much everyone. Except for Thilden.
Why don't you like Thilden?
No one likes Thilden. Seriously.
Okay, but I asked why you don't like him.
He's always annoyed with something. For me, he doesn't like my upbringing. Says that I wasn't raised right, and that my father is a poor parent. I don't know. He's a sod, and no one would disagree.
Do you think you had this poor upbringing?
What? No. My father Sandos is a factor here, so he spent a lot of time away trying to gain converts and increase the influence of the faction. But we grew up here, in the foundry. I mean, it stinks, and it's loud, and people can be like Thilden, I guess, but it's still home to me.
Now, to Avaldan.
Yes.
Do you have any idea what might have happened? Or have some leads?
Maybe.
It's okay. You can tell me.
Okay. I come in here at night sometimes, when there's no one around. Okay? I saw Thilden creeping out. And I know it was him. Because, well, he dropped something.
He reaches into his satchel and hands you an awl with the name Thilden clearly etched into the handle.
He dropped this. Here. It's proof. It was him.
Thilden, the man you just called a sod that apparently no one likes, and now suddenly you have this evidence.
What? What? No, it's...
Come on, Saros. For all I know, you could have stolen that to frame him because... What? You don't like him?
No, sure, we disagreed. But that doesn't mean I'd want him dead. Just because he's a total Burke doesn't mean he should be arrested. But I saw him kill that man. He should be arrested for killing Avaldon.
So you did see him kill him?
Yes.
Why didn't you tell anyone right away?
I don't know. I was scared. I don't know. People might not believe me, or they might think that maybe I did it.
Well, that's what I'm trying to figure out. You're gonna stay here. I'm gonna go speak to more people. Think very hard if there's anything else you want to say.
Oh.
Back on the fabrication floor, dozens of workers go about hauling bags of coal and barrows full of unsmelted ore. All of them are covered head to toe in sweat-streaked soot, to the point that you have no idea how they'd go about telling each other apart.
Excuse me. What do you want from me?
Just a couple of answers.
Ask away.
I'm looking for Thilden.
Why, you work for him?
Are you kidding? He wipes his nose, then points a ham-sized paw towards one of the machine bays.
There.
Is he your boss?
Yes. And he's one of the most rotten bastards that's ever been my misfortune to run across. And I grew up in the Hive amidst some real winners. Whoever got Avaldon pushed the wrong man.
Got it. So long. You see a slab-stomached man with thick arms and a scraggly beard. The reek of stale sweat and even staler breath emanates from him, even over the smoke of the foundry. He's in the process of ordering around his subordinates as you approach him, and he deals a quick cuff to the ear of one of them. He turns to face you, hitching up his belt.
What do you want?
You're Thilden, right? He nods.
Thilden, the Grey, supervisor for this yard. My job it is to make sure my labourers get their jobs done, and to make sure people like you don't distract them. They work little enough as it is, the little sods, and they'd manage to lose the rest of the day in idleness if I weren't here. I'm tough, but I'm fair. Ask anyone.
Why do they call you the Grey?
Because I'm covered in soot most of the time from those blasted furnaces. It's a nickname my labourers have given me. Out of their affection, no doubt. They respect me.
No doubt.
That's right, they do. They know if they don't, they'll get what's coming to them.
You mean like that Smith got what was coming to him?
It was just a figure of speech. It didn't mean anything by it.
Right.
A shame about poor Abelden, really it were. Still, he weren't one to keep himself to the grindstone. He weren't dedicated. 'Tis the way the planes turn, mark my words. Every basher gets his due. Ah well.
Dedicated? You mean to the Godsmen?
Aye. They took me in and trained me to be what I am today, and you got to thank them for that. They take raw talent and shape it into skill. They tell me that everyone has godliness in them. It's true. It's true. I'm learning to take power and move mountains with belief in myself.
I see. Well, nonetheless, I'm here to ask questions.
You want answers? Like what?
What were you doing last night when Avaldan was murdered?
What was I doing? Why, I was sitting in my room with a nice loaf of bread and a jug of wine, staying in. Didn't go out that night, didn't see no need.
Do you know anyone who can swear otherwise?
No, never saw the need to make sure of it. Well, one place you might ask if you're really looking for leads is Saros. A little thieving knight goes everywhere, what with his father being such a high up here. He always was into new experiences, boy's practically a sensei, if you ask me. He probably wanted to kill someone and see if he could get away with it.
Saros, eh? Well, as it happens, he gave me an awl he found near the body. Oddly, this awl has your name etched into the handle. How do you explain that?
He looks momentarily flustered.
Saros is a thief. Odds are he stole it from me. In fact, I've been missing my awl for some time now. Never mentioned it to anyone because I figured I just lost it. Now I know that Saros stole it to frame me. You better go get him before he gives you the laugh.
I'll get on that. But he tells me that it's not a frame. In fact, he says that he personally witnessed you killing the poor sod.
He what? He told you that? I tell you that boy's a thief and a murderer, and you don't believe me? Well, all right, what if I told you the lad's an anarchist too? A member of the Revolutionary League?
If that were true, I'd see to it that he was brought to justice.
Well, it is true. I swear it on the sainted eyes of my poor dead mother. Him and that engineer, Bed-Eye Lynn, they wanted to recruit me. I told them I'd join them because I wanted to catch the turncoats. I'd do my duty by my faction. But then I decided it just weren't right for me to do that. Well, that's when they decided they were going to see me swinging from the leafless tree, if you know what I mean.
All right. I will look into that. In the meantime, I need you to stay right here.
The cheek! You're telling me what to do? I should have you flogged for the insubordinance.
I'm sure you would.
Your third suspect is the engineer Bed-Eye Lynn. Her flaming red hair is pulled back tight, giving her face a hard and slightly anxious look. She appears to be deep in thought, staring at splayed-out sheets of blueprints and scrawled notations. You notice one of her hands has been replaced by some mechanical articulated replica. At your intrusion, she says,
"Can I help you with something?"
"Yes, I had some questions."
"What do you want?"
"You're Bed-Eye Lynn, right? What do you know about the murder last night?"
Let's see. I asked the guards to head out for the night because I was working on some delicate engineering on the project in the next room, and I didn't need their psychic emanations fouling up some very crucial work. It was with some dismay that I found the body when I emerged from the room, and being as I have no other alibi, I realize I'm a suspect, and I suspect you've already found that I wouldn't consent to going under the spell to answer. And the reason for that is that it would be violating the oath of secrecy I swore to protect the project.
And I can verify that with Keldor.
Yes, he'll verify what I've told you. He administered the oath to me, so he knows its power.
Okay. Tell me about yourself.
My name is Bed-Eye Lynn. I'm a magical engineer. Not a mage, mind you, but a theoretician.
All right. Well, tell me of some of the other people here.
The other people around here? Well, you've got the brilliant but eccentric Niall Xander, the Githzerai outcast, Kellerar, Thilden the Grey, whose heart is much less ambiguous than his name, Keldor the Factor, Sandoz the Factor, the two children of Sandoz, supervisors, smiths, and a whole host of others. They all pass me at one point or another, and frankly, I haven't made that much of an effort to get to know them. They work for me, or they don't, and that's about as much as I care, I'm afraid. I'm rather devoted to my work.
What can you tell me of the project you're working on?
What can I tell you about the project we've sworn our lives to complete and defend? No, I don't think so. Nothing. Not yet, anyway. Let's just say it's powerful, and it'll be worth the effort we've put into it.
Right. Oath of secrecy. Was just... Well, Thilden says you're an anarchist. He claims you might have tried to pin the murder of Avaldon on him. A brief spark flashes in her eyes, but a look of scorn replaces it so quickly you're not entirely sure what to make of it.
An anarchist. Right. Well, here's my other leg. Pull that one, too. And what? Try to pin the murder on him? I haven't pinned anything. I didn't see anything but a body. Now, did you have some real questions, or can I get back to my work?
Very well. Farewell. Not sure what to make of the engineer's response, you return back to the meeting room and Saros. It looks like his nerves have frayed even further while awaiting your return, and whatever that ornament on the table once was, it is now a tattered mess of torn scraps.
What have you found? Are you going to let me go free?
Saros. Well, tell me of the people here. What do you think of the Godsmen?
Oh, they're smiths and workers. I think they mean well, but they're also earnest and boring. They need to liven themselves up a bit, like, say, the sensates.
You like the sensates, huh?
Well, they know how to live life. They know what it's all about, not like these people. They keep pretending there's some big noble purpose to it all, but I don't see it. My sister says that life is more than our senses show, but I don't see how she knows that, since all she knows is through her senses. I just don't get why people make all this stuff up.
Well, Thilden tells me that you and Bedai Lin are anarchists, and that you're trying to frame him because he turned down an offer to join you. Saros pales, and his nervous demeanor solidifies into something hard and focused. He straightens up.
She has nothing to do with this.
What?
I did it. I did it on my own. Bedai Lin, it's not...
What did you do, Saros?
The truth is, Thilden shoved Avaldon into the gears. I put the all there to make sure everyone would know he was there, because I'm just a kid, and no one would believe what I was saying, alright? I admit that I planted the all, but I only did it to make sure he got punished for his crime.
Why? Why should I not think that you're doing this to get back at him?
Well, because I don't know why you'd think that, but I promise. Go talk to him and tell him what I said, and then you can decide for yourself.
I'll do that. But, right, what about the claim that you're an anarchist?
Oh, it's not what you think. I'm not. I thought they'd help me and make my life exciting, but instead they turned on me. I guess they have to look out for themselves when everyone's against them, but I just wanted to be part of something.
I think that defeats the point of anarchy, Saros. I think the aim is to be your own person. He looks confused. Look, kid, one thing at a time. I'm gonna go speak with Thilden. Don't move.
I won't.
Hey, what the little lick spit'll tell you now? Sure they're all lies. He admitted it. He says that he planted the awl on the body. He admitted it? Well, of course he did. But only because he wanted to make sure that you'd be implicated in the death. He says you're a murderer, and he wanted to make sure you got caught. He admitted he's an anarchist. Yes. He seems to believe you're dangerous to everyone around you, whether they be an anarchist or a Godsman, and that someone needs to stop you. He's willing to admit to his own crimes in order to ensure that you meet with justice. You're accusing me! But I ain't the murderer! I'm just trying to expose anarchists, Bert. Damn you! You can't do this to me! You can't trust anyone who says they saw me do it, so you can't say I did it. Would you say the same thing under oath and under spell? I'm betting Saros would. His expression drops and his eyes go dead. After a moment, you can see his breath sharpen as he starts to glance around the shop floor.
Booker! Can I at least take my stuff and give this place the laugh? Old Thilden will make sure you won't regret it. No, Thilden. Remain here or suffer even worse consequences. You can rest assured that I can make certain of that. Good day.
With all the information you now need, you take your verdict to Keldor, leaving out the accusation of Saros' involvement with the Revolutionary League, instead recommending that he be sent from the Foundry to broaden his mind. Keldor promptly orders Thilden's arrest, and ultimately his execution. Apparently, there is no redeeming in such a crime towards another member of the faction.
It is done. My thanks for resolving the investigation. But before you return to your craft, I have one more task remaining to you. Another matter of faction sensitivity. Sandos, father of Sorosa and Saros, one of our more vital members, has returned from a harrowing journey. He has locked himself in his tower room and is threatening to end his own life. He won't speak with any of the faction. Please, can you speak to him? Stop him. I needn't push how vitally important this is, Kata. All right, I'm on it. Farewell.
Thank you for listening to Planescape Torment, the unofficial audio series, a RevocerGM production. To support the show and those involved, please consider subscribing to our Patreon or donating via our Ko-fi page. Links to both are in the description.